welcome. Hello to a new format of Jimmy Dragons with our new host, Kap Fantastic, and me, as always, Neek. This will be a bit of a different episode than usual. It'll be just the two of us, just chatting about everything that's happened the last couple of weeks. Maybe even since we were away last time. And but we'll still have guests in the future, so don't worry if you're here for the guest content that'll be coming in the next couple of weeks. So I'm just going to open up to Cap and let him do his little intro as well.
So hi everybody, it's me. It's me, your homeboy, the Kap Fantastic. I am kind of honoured in a weird, peculiar way to be co-hosting this show with the fabulous Neek. I appeared as a guest not long ago and had the time of my life. And I'm really, really pleased to be back. So we are going to be talking about all sorts of things today. It's been a busy week in World of Warcraft. So we're going to kind of reflect on that a little bit. And then, as we say, in the future, we'll be bringing back some guests to the show to share their views on kind of where Blizzard's World of Warcraft is at. So that's where we're at today. Welcome in.
Yeah, we've also got a little Pepe friends.
Pepe friends.
I only have
Always
one, so
Pepe.
there's no variation on my side. So it'll be the same one every time. Don't worry.
I've got 4 now. I'm still missing Bastion. So if anyone sees Bastion Pepe out there in the world, please send me a link so I can buy it immediately, because I buy them damn fast when I see them.
I'm sure there's like custom Etsy ones as well. I'm sure you can get multitudes of different ones.
I bet they are.
So the most recent thing to happen in WoW is the 10.0.5 drop, which just last week.
Mm-hmm.
And it had the trading post, which is probably the biggest feature it came with. It had a couple of the right things we'll come to as well. Yeah, what's your thoughts on how the trading post has come into the game so far?
How's it arrived? So there's two parts, isn't there? Yeah, I feel like the team at Blizzard are probably like, oh god, because it didn't arrive in the smoothest way possible. So I streamed on the Wednesday evening, expecting to be like, yes, trading post stream, we can get into it, have a look, do the things, find out what's going on. And by that point, it had been taken offline. I understand that I think the reason they took it offline was that the process for refunding the attendees wasn't working as intended. Have I understood that right?
Yeah, so there was obviously they knew some issue because there was the extended maintenance on NA for a long time, and then there was an extended maintenance on the EU as well. There's obviously something happening in the background. They weren't quite happy with it, but they pushed it live, so it was actually live and working. People could buy things, and then as soon as people were like, I actually don't like this, I would rather spend my tokens on something else, they couldn't. It was locked in.
Yeah.
There was a couple of other bugs as well where you would log on to different characters and your progression, which was supposed to be account wide and is account wide, was reset. People were completing the progression bar and couldn't get the mount because the box wouldn't open. There's a whole host of little bugs here and there, but as far as I'm aware now, I think it's all up and running. Everything's working fine. I've completed it. I've got my mount.
Are you getting multiple months progress though towards the armor set? Because it should be 12 months, and I've seen people getting multiple months progress.
I completed this month, got the cat, multicolored cat, which I think is really good, and I haven't done an achievement since. Now, most of my achievement came from the raid this week, so when we raid next week, will it progress even more? I don't know. But at the moment, I haven't looked at it beyond. I got all my tendies I could get, spent them all buying the things I wanted. Luckily, I bought everything I wanted in the single month. What was left over, I wouldn't have bought anyway. So
yeah. So I guess like that's the second half, right? So there's the technical side of things not working as intended, and extended maintenance, I think, upsetting people. Generally speaking, it wasn't like people weren't massively happy about it. However, there is the flip side, which is this is one of my favorite types of what I think people are calling, quote unquote, evergreen content, because this is something that's going to be there every month. It's low resistance. There's very little friction to it. You log in, you get some tendies. You do some things that you're probably going to be doing anyway because they sit in every area of the game. So there's stuff for PvP, there's stuff for PvE, there's stuff for dungeons, for raiding, for world quests, for holiday events. You're going to get your tendies every month just by playing. And I love that. And I'm really sold on the stuff that they've got on the store. I've picked up a few pieces. I already had the mount, the Celestial Steed, from way back when in Wrath. But I've picked up a few bits and pieces that I think are really cool, and I'm going to carry some tendies over as well. So I'm here for it. I like it.
That's the thing. It's not even just it's like it's like 10 things, and you have to do 8 of them to complete the bar. There's 400 things almost. It's literally just almost not a game part of the game you can play. It doesn't reward you. If you play purely like RP, there's things for like emoting to people and visiting old content. There's things for like selling. I think it's 5,000 worth of gold on the auction house.
Yep.
There's killing bosses, killing PvP achievements, doing Mythic Plus. Every part of the game will get you something.
Exactly.
So you don't really have to go out of your way to progress this. It's not like, oh, this is a chore. I've got to do this every month. It's your normal gameplay will reward you with tendies, and we're calling them tendies now. That's just happening.
There is a little add-on you can get that changes the name to tendies in game as well, which I really like. So Nolgar made that, I believe.
Nolgar, yeah. So, but like even the things that were on there, I didn't get them out because I already had them out as well, so that saved a chunk of tokens of tendies.
Yeah.
And even the stuff that was on there, I was buying things that I wanted. So I wasn't particularly taken by the bandolier. I thought it was a bit not great.
They look like they should have like belts on them. Do you know what I mean? They look like they've got the big things for straps or belts, whatever you want to call them.
I think that's just
and they're not there.
Just a pure limitation of the Warcraft engine.
Is it?
Because all backpacks, even the modern ones they have now, they're not actually attached to you. Sort of like hover over your back, and it depends on the model as well. So like a Tauren will have it in a different position than say an elf or something. Just because Taurens and the undead and what else? Worgen, they have got an arched spine. So if you had it in the same position, it would be like sat on top of the character rather than anywhere else.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So chat is saying that like the wings, the Ardenweald wings, for example, float on the backs for Worgens. So it must be something. So maybe it's something to do with that.
A lot of the Shadowlands addition. I don't know what you call them, back pieces like the Kyrian floating disc or the Revendreth spikes things.
Yeah,
they were all free floating, and that's for that sort of thing. You can think, oh, it's magic. So, but I think when people see something that's like a piece of clothing, they think, oh, it should be attached. And I just don't think the way the game is built, it is possible.
I mean, I wonder whether that's then like a design for that particular piece. We're going to tangent into the very specifics of one item here, but that particular piece, I wonder if it's like, if you design it and you put the loopholes, if you like, to hold what is obviously meant to be a strap, that's the mistake. You make it more like a backpack item that looks okay floating or just attached to the back rather than.
They have moved into that area in this month's supply. There's like a cloak, and it's sort of there's the hood up version and there's a hood down version. Hood down version has like it's almost like a chest piece. It comes around the neck and hangs down lower as a single piece. So that's not something that would have seen in the game previously, I don't think. I think that's something fairly new where it's like a singular piece. But then to have the hood up and the hood down, they had to have 2 different transmogs to do that.
Yeah, it's 2 items, isn't it? Because you can use the hood separately, which I kind of like, because I like the hood. I'm not a fan of cloaks. So the hood I would use.
You take a cloak because you're always going to need a cloak. It's always going to tie a transmog together. Even the one from this month where it's like a very precise colour of pink that probably doesn't exist anywhere else in the game, where you're like, there's no other transmog sets that will work with that colour. but there might be in the future.
I got it, and I was like, I'm gonna get this because maybe it'll work with something.
Yeah,
but I don't know what that something is yet. So
it's the same with the hunter. I don't play hunters very often, but I got the bow because it's like that bow's like good.
Mm-hmm.
For honest, there's very few bows I like, and it's one thing that always stops me playing a hunter a lot. I would prefer to get the guns than the bows because the bows are always a bit.
Yeah, the bows are a bit blah. Some of the guns are a bit blah as well. To be fair.
Oh yeah, that's true, but I don't know. My Mechano hunter needs a gun. It looks silly with the bow.
That is true. Gnomes are too short for bows. This is I've learned this over the years. I love gnomes, but I can't have a bow. Crossbows sometimes.
Well, the gun I use on my transmog is it's more like a pistol, but for him it looks like a rifle because it's a Mechano, so it's tiny. Works perfectly, but
So what do you think of the trading post as a piece of content, as an addition to the game? Are you like happy about it? Do you want more of it? What's your view?
As it currently stands, I like it. I think people are always going to jump to the worst conclusion that it's going to be something it's not, and that it's going to be a battle pass where you have to pay. But it's already that because it's a sub thing. If you pay your sub, this is your battle pass. You paid already. People are getting worked up about you're going to make it monetize it. It's like paying monthly. It's already monetized.
Yeah,
it's like
it is monetized. You're paying.
That horse is bolted. You are paying monthly. And people are getting really upset with things like, "Oh, but you're making me wait 12 months to get this Warden armor." Like, well, are you upset because you have to wait, or are you upset because you have to pay? Because if you pay if you only play one expansion, then you don't play again until the next expansion.
Yep,
it'll take you 12 years, but you'll get it eventually.
Exactly. At some point, you are going to get that. Yeah. I mean, I that argument is a bit a funny one for me because it's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I feel like the whole point of it, obviously, is to get people to log in every month. It's to get people to stay subbed, log in every month, and engage with the game on the regular. So, Blizzard are damned because they have to do that. They're there to make money ultimately, but at the same time, it's like it's kind of an achievement. What's wrong with something that takes 12 months? It's like a nice achievement. When you get it, you can be proud that you logged in every 12 months. It feels like, I don't know, it feels like a bit of a weird complaint to me to be like, oh, they've put content that takes a long time to get. It's like, okay, so like you say, are they unhappy because they've got to pay for 12 months, or unhappy because it takes 12 months? I'm not really sure what the argument is.
Yeah, and meanwhile, you've logged in this month, and the Celestial Steed's there for free. They give you enough currency just for logging in this month to buy that mount, which is a store mount. So
exactly,
if you gain trick. You've always complained about, oh, we don't like store mounts. It's like, well, here's one for free. There's another one for free not so long ago. Well, that's TCG. There's a TCG toy which is ending in a couple of hours. Today. That's a TCG toy that you would have had to bought once, and you could buy it on the non-official Blizzard channels for a couple $100 maybe, and it's free. It's like they're giving you free things.
Up and watching streams,
and you're complaining about more free things because you have to wait a bit.
Exactly. Interesting though, I haven't heard owners of the Celestial Steed complain that they paid for it. I don't know. Now I don't know if that's because it was so long ago that we're kind of like, I don't care, or I'm just not hearing it.
I think it's more of a case of people who bought it paid $20 or the equivalent. People who bought the Feldrake from Twitch a couple of months ago, a large percentage of those people paid hundreds, if not thousands. And I think those are the people who are upset. Those people who paid thousands on the assumption that this is a limited one-off, never ever again. And it's digital content. There's no supply and demand. They can produce as many of these as they want. It's digital content is very strange in that it doesn't. It only has value as long as it's available. There's no workshop producing these, and there's no lack of funds. they just click a button and it goes live, and then they can buy it again.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just feels a little bit silly to get worked for amount. You chose to pay $3,000, say, for a mount. If it wasn't worth $3,000 to you now, then it wasn't worth $3,000 to you then. If you're buying it just for the because you can say you had an expensive mount, then that's what you bought. You bought that feeling, that bragging rights. You didn't buy the mount.
And that's a big part of it, right? Because that's how I feel about it. I'm like, I don't mind that other people are getting the steed because I had it in Wrath. I was one of the people like slow walking, RP walking round and round Dalaran in a line of people on the steeds, being like, yeah, I got the thing. I spent the money. And people would whisper and be shitty about it. You know, I remember that. Like, it was a funny, an interesting time. But like, I got the bragging right of having it at the time, so I'm not fussed like years later that other people are getting it. And it's the same, like you say, it's the same for the trading card stuff. I mean, you know, the weather machine trading cards, according to chat, is going for about $170 right now. So obviously now you just watch 4 hours of Twitch and you've got it for free, but you've had it. If you spent $170 on it whenever ago, you've had it for that long. You had the bragging rights of. I mean, if ownership of it meant that much to you, you've had the bragging rights for a period of time of being the person that owned it before everybody else. So, you know, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for that privilege, I guess, for a period of time.
And that they're also the Twitch drops are limited time only, so they're not bringing it back forever. Like if you own like the weather machine card and it's worth $170 now, in a couple of weeks it'll probably start climbing again in price because people who wanted it and missed it will want to pay money for it again.
Exactly.
So it's not something to get. I don't know. It's not something that particularly works. I'm one of these people though. I find I don't care what other people have got. If I want it, then I will get it.
Yeah,
it goes the same into like raiding and Mythic Plus. It's like I don't care if someone has got a mount that you worked really hard for in Mythic Plus. They farmed it 10 years later and got it on a drop. It doesn't invalidate your work. You got the, and it'll tell you when you got it, and you had 10 years to show how good you are. If someone farms it
exactly
for 10 years as well, killing Lich King every week for 10 years for Invincible. They've worked for it as well, but also it doesn't. I don't know. I don't like exclusivity in games where people are like denied something because they can't get it after a certain period of time.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. What you do does not affect my gameplay.
Yeah.
I know there are lots of people who disagree and say, no, it invalidates my achievement as well. It doesn't affect me.
I agree. I don't feel that way, and I'm not fussed about buying those things and having those things and then them being available to other people further down the line. So I think, you know, again, it's that you get the achievement at the time or you get the bragging rights at the time. That's what was of value to you in the moment. But also, I guess that's part of your buying decision now, isn't it? To think, oh, okay, well, maybe this is going to come around for free months, years down the line. Maybe I don't purchase. Maybe I wait. So I guess that's kind of part of the buying decision now for games like Warcraft and other games that use similar systems.
I mean, I don't see. I mean, maybe it's a different world now, but I don't see the idea of a trading card ever coming back to WoW, that sort of game again. I think it was a mistake. I think they realised it was a mistake, and it lasted a while. But the rewards that you were getting into it changed over time. I'm not 100% sure on this, but there was mounts at the beginning. But the mounts you got later on were charge based. There's a pony you could get. Only use it 50 times.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of those.
Yeah, so it's a little white pony at the time when horses and ponies were like valuable. Like we didn't have the wealth of mounts we had now. But it only had 50 charges, and if you have to use it 50 times, gone. So you had the prestige of I got this lucky card drop.
Temporary prestige, yeah.
I got my lucky card. It's great, and then you could sell those on if you really wanted to sell them on because they weren't.
I wonder how people would feel if they bought back something like that, something with charges rather than.
I
I mean,
think they would
I
flip
don't think
out.
I'd love it. Yeah, I don't think I
I
would love it.
personally would not like it because I would find myself sitting with something in my bank with 50 charges forever.
Yeah, same, because I'd never want to use it. I'd be
No.
like, it's charge based. I don't want to use it.
It's like, well, what if I need it? It's like, you'll never
Yeah.
need it. It's the same reason like I can play like the old Final Fantasy and other RPGs like that, and I'll have an elixir in my bag that will restore all my health, all my mana, and I'll save it for the perfect moment. Then I kill the final boss, and it's still in my bag.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people who hoards the health potions like that for the perfect moment that never comes, and it's just a waste. Because
At least you've got them in your bag, though. You're well prepared.
well prepared for
yeah.
an event that never happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's the point of being well prepared, is it, I guess. But chat saying people would lose their minds. So there you go. But
they're losing their minds currently. Well, I might say something quite controversial here to get us off on a good start for this episode. Night Elf fans are weird. Really, really, really weird.
Statement. Neek says, Night Elf fans, get this, folks. You heard it here first. Neek thinks all Night Elf fans are weird.
I will stand by this. So there's two types of people in the WoW community who I find weird, and I don't understand. First of all, PvPers. Don't understand it. I've never heard of PvP with a good take on anything. Secondly,
didn't WoW do a survey on Twitter just to distract for a second, where it's like PvE, PvP, and then some other game content types, and like PvP was like well low. Most people were like PvE.
Yeah. People are always saying, "Oh, PvP is what is keeping the game alive." I'm like, yeah, that doesn't look like it's true, though, does it?
I mean, maybe they're the only people playing in between content droughts, though, which we haven't had one recently, but
maybe
end of last expansion.
I think it's the collectors who keep it going, but like I said, yeah, Night Elf RP deep lore fans are just so weird. It's a cesspool of Twitter. If you get into, you are going deep, and it's so weird. So the current one is related to the trainer post. It's all on topic. It's the Warden armor. They are freaking out, absolutely freaking out, and this is still Steve Noosa's fault apparently. Don't know how, but it is. Because it's not yet clear whether that 12-month transmog is race locked or if it's for all.
Of course it's not.
So the idea of having a Tauren or any orc race, particularly the orcs, in a Warden armor is a complete anathema to them, and they are on the warpath right now.
Oh, that's the problem.
Because this is a
it's not
degradation
everybody else in the game that doesn't play a night
Horde
being like,
I
don't get something.
Racial armor, and it's just, guys, it's transmog.
It's transmog.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of uproar about the human and the orc heritage, which comes in 10.07.
Oh, let's talk about that in a second, because I'm hyped for it.
But this is just weird. Night Elf RPers getting really upset, and it's like going into like they burned the Ashen Veil for this. They burned our tree for this, and it's like
they burned our tree for this.
It's transmog, please.
Oh. But like, imagine it not being available to everybody. Like everybody that doesn't play a Night Elf, 12 months of subbing and logging in and enjoying the trading post. And it's like, sorry, I've given you some transmog for your 12 months of effort and engagement with the game that can only be used on a Night Elf.
But the hottest take I saw was someone saying it's a Night Elf only piece, and it's a Blizzard conspiracy to get players to play Night Elves.
Why?
Yeah.
How would Blizzard benefit
to
from
fix
this?
the faction imbalance? That's it. This transmog is going to fix all of raiding and the imbalance.
That's what they're doing. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, let's fix our product balance by it. Yeah. I mean, because we're cross faction's not the solution, surely.
Well, there was actually development today, overnight, where they are. Cross-faction Mythic Raiding is now open from the 14th.
Yes, it is cross-realm.
And they have almost explicitly said this is now completely separate from the Hall of Fame. they will do it whenever they feel it is right for the player base, which is a good move. It won't affect, well, it kind of will affect, but not massively, the Hall of Fame, because you still have to have 16 of your 20 as, realistically, it's the Alliance that's the problem.
Yeah.
So you can have 4 Hordes come in and boost, because that's all you need for Horde. Like, realistically, it's not going to change the time it takes for 100 of each to get in there. But it just means things like cross-faction comes in, so it's a bit more freeing for people.
Yeah.
Valor and Conquest now will be uncapped on the same day, so M Plus becomes opened up, and the gear and the eye level of every Raider and Mythic Plus will shoot up overnight.
Yeah.
This is when the brakes go off a little bit, and I think this is good because honestly, having a capped Valor, I understand the reason for it early.
Yeah, early on it makes a little sense.
But God, I'm crying out for it now.
Same.
I will spam those +2s for those trinkets.
Part of me thinks though that, you know, like a dungeon takes a set amount of time to do, sometimes longer than we'd like because we don't time it. So there's only so much time folks are gonna have. And I'm kind of inclined to say, you know what, if someone wants to kind of like get in there and do that and just spam it, then that's on them. Like let them make that decision if people want to grind it out. However, anything grindable does put a bit of extra pressure on other folks to tip up and do it more.
I would say that there is a hidden upside to Uncapped Valor, which I don't think people quite notice. If you look onto Live right now, particularly in the EU, you will search for a key, and you'll see 10s, 12s, and the rest are all probably 16 pluses. You've got an alt, or you're a newer player who's a little bit slower to gear up. What are you going to do? You can't get into those 10s. You can't even get into 16s. No chance. There's not 2s, 4s, 6s around. Because everyone who's started has already sort of like moved past that.
Yeah, people are past that level.
You're up Uncapped Valor. People were spamming those low level keys for Valor, spamming it for the trinkets and the drops that they can't get elsewhere. It will mean there'll be more toxic pugs because, unfortunately, that's just a factor of how people play. But it does mean there's more options for low levels and alts to start playing the game properly and get into those keys that just don't exist right now. Like somebody in chat, as you've said, there are places you can go where you can learn keys with groups, like the dojo.
Yeah.
And also the best of one of all, guilds. Find a guild. I will always say, find a guild.
There's guilds out there who are supportive enough to kind of like help lower characters through keys. It was something I was doing on stream myself just this week. And there's groups like Dojo who do that as well. So I think, you know, there are spaces you can go, but to your point, Neek, they're few and far between. You know, you have to be fortunate to find or happen across one of these guilds that do support players that way, or a community that do, to get that content did. So it can, I think, put folks off sort of continuing their journey if they're a little bit late to level. And there's nothing wrong with being late to level. You know, it's just people take the time.
Maybe you were badly hurt by Shadowlands. A lot of people were, and you saw Dragonflight come out, and you're like, I'm still not convinced. But then you heard word of mouth. You're like, actually, I'm going to come in, I'm going to start playing, and it's February.
Yeah.
You're going to blast through the early content fairly quickly because leveling, it pulls you through quite quickly. It's not multi-days of leveling. Yeah. You can hit 70 in a day, realistically.
Yeah.
And then you want to start progressing, but if there's no intermediate level between Heroic Blues plus 16 Heroic Raid gear, there's very little for people to sort of move on. And it does sort of separate people out into like the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah.
And you might get your own +2 key, but are there enough people out there going to join it? Currently, I don't think there is.
Yeah, that's the thing, I guess. And I wonder if, in part, uncapped valor will encourage folks to do more lower keys because they're easy, and they're still getting valor to just grind valor, or whether that's going to kind of prevent people from engaging with that lower content to get the higher valor from the higher keys, because the valor level increases the higher the key, right?
No, it's a set number.
Is
But
it static?
it's static, but
Okay.
unless they change it, but if it's based on Shadowlands and previously, it's static plus bonus if someone in your key gets a rating upgrade. So
Right.
it's in the benefit of even the boosters, as it were, the
Yeah.
higher people to do it because they're going to get more because the person with the key, chances are, has no score.
So theoretically, this should encourage folks that
I
already
will
outgear
live
the lower
outside Knockout
keys to do
Offensive
lower
till I get
keys.
that feather. I will not. I will be there forever.
Oh my god, this trinket!
Trinkets do
Like
not exist.
everyone
They're a
in the
myth.
guild is like so tired of hearing about it. I love it.
I just
It's brilliant. Neat. You're never gonna get it.
never gonna
You know
get
what
it.
it's like. You're gonna get it like right at the last moment when it becomes invalid because
Yeah,
something better arrives in the
I
game.
know.
That's when you'll get that drop.
It'd be like start season 2 next week, and it'd be like, oh, here's the trinkets, here's all of them, and I'd be like, I hate you,
Nope.
game. I hate you.
Yep.
It's similar to what
Uh,
happened in Start of Shadowlands. I couldn't get the Unbound Changeling, and I got it 3 weeks before the end of this patch. But luckily, it was it kept going the next season. We didn't have changing trinkets like we will this time.
yeah.
But it was valor capped at like it had a maximum number of levels, so you couldn't progress into the next season.
So annoying. Someone in chat just said once you get the trinket, Blizzard decide to nerf it. It's like it's also a distinct possibility, knowing your luck.
Yeah, yeah. Chances are they will.
Love it. So I think that's trading post and Valor Uncap covered. What else has happened this week?
Well, we have some changes. We have in my head I've completely forgotten because I'm thinking of 10.0.7, which in itself is news. The idea that we've literally had a patch drop and they've already told us what's in the next patch.
And it's on PCR. It was on PCR almost the next day. It was literally like, bang, here's your patch, bang, here's your PCR. So there's a lot happening right now. Maybe they rushed. I don't know. Maybe a part of the issues of the trading post was slightly rushed, but they're definitely working hard, I think, to stick to their timelines.
Yeah, definitely. I think the trading post was the big feature,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted that to hit the ground running and be right.
Yeah.
Because if it's not right, it's like the temple of the whole match.
Yeah. But is it enough? So this is like, because people are used to, in the World of Warcraft, getting big patch but irregular. And I think what we're moving towards now is these kind of like two little smaller patches and then a big patch. But I have seen, and I don't know if you're seeing this as well, some people saying it's not enough, it's a small patch, that kind of usual negative reaction. Now, probably some of that is just trolls and the standard people that can't be happy about anything. But does it feel like enough to keep us going to 10.0.7?
It depends on when 10.0.7 comes in, because I think it depends on what you do in the game. If you are a raider, chances are you are very close to getting your head of the curve, cutting edge, or just killing the boss on normal. So is it enough? No. But it was never going to be. It was never going to be a new raid. It was never going to be new content like that.
Yeah, wasn't meant to be. That's the intent.
What it is for everyone else. It's sub retention. It's to keep people ticking over a little bit of stuff. It's more focused on alts, if I'm honest. So there's things that have come in which are alt focused. For example, if you level up a new alt now, you can get all 5 sparks instantly. No quest, no nothing. 5 sparks.
Skip your sparks.
if your main's been pumping out keys and content, you're gonna have a load of primal essences. Guess what? You can transfer them over now.
Yeah.
So you can have your entire alt leveled in 5 or 4 pieces of crafted gear the day you hit 70. It just makes everything smoother and run quicker for alts now. Which is good, because this is the point where people are reaching the cap of where they are in the loot of their alts. So
yeah,
like the catalyst is coming as well, which is similar in that most people are going to have 4 set, but they're not going to have the best pieces of 4 set. So they can start just like updating that just to get them over the line of whatever content they're doing, get the best pieces possible.
Yeah.
And alts can now come in because it's an alt wide charge system. So you on your main, all your alts have the same number of charges. So another 2 weeks from now, fresh level alt can come in and basically make
like the whole tier
set. Of course, they have to do a bit of look and get in the gear, but
that's easy. That's easier to do than it is to get the right gear. Yeah. So there's some. I mean, can you convert crafted gear?
Crafted gear cannot become tier, but the so basically it's Mythic Plus gear, Raid gear, and Primal Storms. Items. That's the one thing I think is a failure of this expansion and also this new patch, which is the Primal Storms are just not interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say I don't have an opinion because I haven't done them.
I think that's, the people who have done them are like
about the problem, isn't it? It's like
people who have done them are like, and the people who haven't done them are like, oh, why should I?
Yeah,
I'm sure some people love them.
Do you want to grind out the currency for the mounts though? There's 2 mounts. There's like the lizardy thing and the kind of like duck thing, and I'm like, it's not a duck. It's like a bird thing, like a raptor bird thing.
It's like
but like I want those 2 mounts. Yeah, Dino Bird. There you go. So, let's go with that.
This is an improvement on the Storms because it's one place. It's fairly regular. The best way to describe it is, if you remember Najtar, you had war mode on, you have 4 flags around the zone. You stand next to the flags, killing alternative faction if there were any, which was always, and some generated NPCs. After a couple of minutes, you'd control the flag, control all the flag, you win. Now, in this version, you stand next to these flags, NPCs run up, you kill them all very, very easily, I would say.
Yeah.
And then when all 4 flags are down, a big boss spawns near the top of the map, and you all go and nuke it down.
So it's just like the pre-patch event, but all over the place.
No, it's just in the Primalist Future, which is quite a small area. So it is.
Oh, so is that not the same as the ones that you get elsewhere in the world? Because there's like the Primal Storms elsewhere. So this is like a new one. This is in
the Bronze Dragon area.
Right.
Except instead of being, it's all snowy. So there is a mechanic in there called freezing, where for every couple of seconds you are stood in the outdoors, you will get a stack of freezing, which causes frost damage over time.
Okay.
You can buy, or sometimes loot drops, which are little fireplaces placed down. You stand in that, you get a stack of warmth, which is it negates the freezing effect, but it also builds past 0. It builds like a shield. So you get like a shield of like up to, I think it's up to 10. Might even go higher, but they only last for a couple of seconds, these fires, and they cost 50 gold each, which is pretty expensive for a kind of buff thing. If you're a geared character around about 400 now, you probably don't need the fires, if I'm honest. If you've got any sort of self healing, you'll be fine. But this is obviously geared towards lower item level players and alts, so they're lower items. They will need to be.
Chat is sort of saying that it's a way to kind of gear alts potentially, but otherwise not really much else to it.
I find quite confusing is that gearing alts, like in the previous Primal Storms, you just killed ads. It was fairly easy. And then this, when you're clearing the pointers, they're quite easy. but the boss has got a lot of health and does some quite nasty attacks. And it can take a full big group of people a long time to kill it.
Okay.
If you're just dinged in 50, 70, and you've got 350, 360, even 380 armor, this is going to hurt quite a lot for it, and it feels a little bit
maybe overtuned.
I wouldn't say undertuned, because you're always going to have a degree of people like me who are farming the currency for mounts and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, because a lot of us are at that point.
Yeah, but if you're an alt, you're going to be potions, you need health stones if you can get them, any sort of healing, because it's going to hurt. But if you are a World Quest only player, it is your end game content. It just needs to be a bit of challenge.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's end game world content, isn't it? So I guess it's challenge. Yeah, it's got enough challenge in it to make it interesting and not and it not leave somebody.
So when you kill the boss, get a stack of essence, like you do. You get a sigil, which is used to buy the gear, same as previously, and you get, I think it's called
lightning thing.
It's a lightning symbol. It's a currency.
I remember the currency.
Yeah,
but that one stacks in your bag irritatingly.
It does, but it drops in very low amounts. A boss will give you 6, apart from the first one of the week, which is like a weekly quest.
You need that in combination with the essency type things.
So to get the mount, which is what I'm currently getting, I need 3,000 essence and 150 of the lightning.
Right.
I think I started the patch off with 0 of each, because I spent all my stuff on the previous mount.
Yep.
I've been doing this for 2 weeks now, and every time it comes up, I go over and I do it. So I'm doing it fairly regularly, more than most.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's way more than I'm doing it. I popped in there the other day and I was like, "Oh, what's this?"
I'm about 70. I'm about 70 of the lightning currency, halfway, and I'm just about to hit 3,000 of the essence currency.
Okay.
So if you were to hardcore do it as much as I'm doing it, you can get it in 4 weeks.
Okay.
So it's a grind, but it's not.
It's a grind, but it's not too long. Yeah, it's not months and months. But that seems reasonable.
If you're interested in doing the whole transmog set, which I will do eventually, I'm a fiend for
I probably want to collect it.
I'm going to collect it. That'll take ages. The amount of essence that drops is so low. There's a couple of rings you can buy from the vendor for currency.
There's trinkets as well?
Yeah, so the rings add the warmth buff, so you don't need the freezing the fire thing. So if you are a casual player, that means I'll save you money eventually. And 389, not bad for gearing up as well.
Yeah.
There's a trinket which gives you, well, it doesn't give you, it procs off your abilities and drops a haste patch on the floor.
Okay.
It is what it is. I hate any trinket that puts a patch on the floor away from you, because you've got to go to it, and with any mechanics, it's going to be I've got to move it.
Yeah, got to move to it. Exactly.
I don't like moving for anything. I'm a caster. I stand still and I press my buttons.
I'm on the go all the time, so it wouldn't be too bad for me. But then I'd have to stand on it, and I'd be like, "Oh, now I can't move."
You're the opposite. You can't.
I don't like being still. My brain's too busy wanting to bounce around.
Yeah, but there's no additional transmog in there. There's just the rings, the trinket, the mount, and a couple of toys.
Okay.
But like I say, that's not much for patch to keep people going, I don't think. Just looking ahead towards the 10.07 content, that does feel a little bit more substantial.
Yeah, that feels like there's more coming in that somehow to me, but I still don't have kind of in my head a clear list of everything that's coming. And obviously we've got a few things coming up in the next few weeks as we run towards that anyway. There's got a few in-game events and things happening, and holiday things happening too. So I think there's plenty to be getting on with in-game, maybe off the back of this patch happening, like holiday content to kind of carry people through. to the next patch point?
Yeah, so I mean, coming up in the next week, we've got some big things for professions. We've got Diamond Fairs coming up.
Yep.
Obviously, go there, get your 3 points, free knowledge as well. So,
I always forget Diamond Fair gives you free knowledge as well. That is important.
yeah, so it does it for food as well. So go do your food and fish. I assume most people are fishing out anyway, but so you got your 4 things there, and then late tonight, technically tomorrow, we've got Love is in the Air.
Yes.
With the most important change.
Greatly increased drop chance in quotation marks.
Yes. So going from a 0.001 to a 0.1 is still a very, very low chance. I understand.
Do we know what the change is? The percentage change? So this is on the Love Rocket gang.
They don't ever really tell us.
What's it called now? Is it still called the Love Rocket? It used to be called
X14.
The Heartbreaker now.
Heartbreaker.
Yeah, okay. So it used to be called the Love Rocket. Now it's called the Heartbreaker. It is a very cool pink rocket with like a zebra print seat that I've had for many, many years. And they've greatly increased the drop chance, but I've not seen published anywhere what that change was from and to.
I think Blizzard keep that sort of information quiet for the most part, so that they can always tweak it based on how it actually works out. Because Love in the Air is not the rarest drop. Rarest drop previously was always Shar of Anger until recently. Problem was it was character locked, so you could do it once per character per day.
Yeah.
For 14 days, whereas Shar you can do every 52 times so per character per year.
Yeah.
So that's what was driving the drop chance down. On top of that, you had to queue for an event and kill it, and it just meant people were trying to do it 10 times a day, and it would take them several hours. Plus, you have the lockout of timer, so you couldn't do it as fast as you wanted to because you were locked into this event instance for 10 times.
Okay.
So you were capped at 10 per hour generally.
Yeah. And
it broke people mentally. I've farmed it so many times. I've not got it.
So isn't it? I think that like you get an extra chance. I think overall they've increased it, but then you get extra chance on your first go per account per day.
Yes.
So theoretically, you're encouraged. Well, for folks that are just logging in one character to do that, you're encouraged to do that, and it takes maybe a bit of pressure away from doing the other 16 characters you might have because of the drop chance.
So you have 14 attempts on your account at this boosted rate. How realistically how boosted that is, we'll never know. We'll see.
It only once per account you get an extra boost? So like the first time you do it, you get an even higher percentage chance. Once, not per character, per account.
Per day.
So per day, yeah.
Yeah, it's once per day per account.
Yeah.
So you log in on your main character, you run the event, you have that boosted chance.
Drop times.
If it doesn't drop, then you can run it on all your alts after that and farm it as much as you want, but you're back to the old initial rate, which is very, very unlikely. It does take away it means it's like if you are unlucky and you don't get it on that boosted chance, you can still do the old way. You can still get it,
grind it,
but you are going to have to put in the hours.
Yeah, and you're slightly less incentivized to do it because the drop chance is lower. So if you are only doing it once a day, which is kind of more my level of play, because I don't like to have too many alts, then you're getting a slightly higher chance.
Well, people were literally leveling characters just to have extra attempts at it. And you can still do that if you wish, but like people like yourself who are a one character person, you do it, you roll your dice, you don't get it, come back tomorrow. And you don't feel quite so punished for not running it 20 times, 40 times, 50 times or what. I think there's some people we know who do it 50 times a day on every character. It's just...
No.
I couldn't...
I don't have that kind of emotional strength.
Yeah, that's for 5 hours of my life. I just want back.
Yeah, exactly.
I did do it the 1 year. I did it every character. I think I had about 30 characters then, and it was just...
If Ice Crown had a skip, I might line up some alts outside Ice Crown for Invincible every week, but I can't do that more than once a week.
We should talk. We should probably get a lockout for you.
Yeah, we need to figure out how to do that.
Well, basically,
that would be useful.
As far as I understand, it's still working this way. You would clear Ice Crown up to King. I would come out, and I would extend that lockout every week. You would join my lockout, go in, walk up,
leave.
kill him.
Mm-hmm.
I'd nope out there, still have my lockout.
Yeah.
And then we just do that.
Interesting. Well, there you go.
You can do it on solo, which is a bit more annoying because then you've got to sort of like log in, create a group, quickly log out, log in while the group's still active, but you've still not logged in.
I wonder if that still works though. Like chat is saying, apparently they've changed it so it no longer works on solo.
Right. I never tried because I would have done it for Siege of Ogrimmar, but I don't.
Oh God, Siege of Ogrimmar.
Yeah.
Can I just do? I'm just going to do a shout out for one of my community as well. The lovely JG messaged me on Discord out of the blue the other day saying, "Hi, I'm at the end of Siege of Orgrimmar. Do you want to quickly log in and join me for a chance on the mount?" And that is the kind of considerate, awesome community member that we all love to have in our streaming communities. So I just wanted to give him a little shout out for that.
So yeah. That being fair, love is in the air. Love is there, obviously, if you're doing for the long strange trip. I recommend you do it. It gets easier each year because they keep tweaking things. So,
well, they're changing holidays in 10.0.7 as well.
Yeah, so they may make it easier, but just go and get them while you can. You've got 14 days. Honestly, I don't think this is a particularly hard month. The hard month was always the school week, when you had to do the hard knocks.
Children's week?
Yeah, you had to go and do a battlefield, and you had to be the first person in the group to go and secure, I think it was one of the points on the Arathi Basin, which is fine normally, except chances are there's going to be like 6 other people in your group trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to like rush there. I was fortunate I did it because I did it during COVID, so I was like working at home at times, so I could stay up till stupid times. 1 minute past 3 in the morning, servers restarted, and I went, right, I'm going to do it
straight in. Love it.
The first day of the event, first time, bang, got it. Right, bye. No more PvP for me. That's now been removed. You don't have to do that now. That's for the benefit of everyone.
Thank goodness.
Like I say, this month is, from what I remember, is fairly easy to do. So get on it.
Awesome.
So
I think that's all we've got coming up, isn't it? Really, that's just those 2 things, and then 10.0.7 will be hot on the heels of those events.
I would say for those people still doing the training post, there is a micro event which does have achievements linked to it, which is the Hippogriff Day.
That's true.
I can't remember the exact date. I think it's usually a Sunday. Can't find the date, unfortunately. Quick look. So it is sometime on the next month. Basically, you just have to have. What I remember seeing was that you have to have a hippogriff sit on your shoulder.
Oh.
And he stays with you 24 hours. Or is it 24 hours or a week? I don't know. I think it might be a week he stays with you.
So it's not like a 1-day event, or you get it on the 1-day event and it stays.
The event is a 1 day, but it stays. It's like a buff.
So you have to log in the day of the event to get there. Get the thing done.
So it's 1 day. You go in. You have to.
Apparently, it's the 23rd of Feb.
23rd. Oh, okay. And I knew it was this month,
which is a Thursday.
So most people will have taken all the achievements and filled up the bar by then, but we won't get the hatchling there. Another 50 points also.
It's pretty cute.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, so should we wrap it up for this week?
I think we should. So where can we find you on the internet, Neek? Tell us all the places.
I am generally everywhere, apart from Instagram, because I refuse. And because unified branding is terrible, I apparently can't get my same handle everywhere, so I'm on Twitter at Neek2323. I'm on Twitch at Neek_23. And that's pretty much it.
I love this. So you can find me across the internet as well at the Kap Fantastic on Twitter, TikTok, Insta, YouTube, and probably some other places that I've just forgotten. But if you're on a social platform of some description, search for the Kap Fantastic and you'll probably find me. So yeah, that's me.
And I think I may stream tonight because I'll be doing the dojo raid on my mage. So if you want to watch some rusty mage action, I will be doing some average DPS.
Rusty mage action sounds filthy. I love this. I will be back. I'm hoping to try and get another stream in later today myself as well. But I'll be back for raid night tomorrow night from 7 on the Twitch.
Yes,
and then the usual schedule next week.
The Raz down, hopefully.
We get the Raz, I was going to say, better be this Sunday. We'll be like full-on Raz session this Sunday. And then I did also just want to quickly plug, I am doing some work this year with the charity partner Stonewall Housing, who support LGBTIQA plus people getting secure and safe housing, either because they need to escape an unsafe situation or because they are homeless. They've just opened their very first, in fact, homeless shelter for LGBTIQA plus specifically people in the Brighton and Hove area as well. So I've got a charity event coming up on the 25th of February. So save your pennies. I'll be streaming all day that Saturday in support of that charity. And then in March, I'll be meeting them and doing a little bit of content from their shelter in Brighton and Hove and supporting them throughout the course of 2023. So that's my charity partner for the year. Also, there is a Raider IO event coming up on the 23rd of February, where you can form a team as part of the Dungeon Dojo. So get onto the Dungeon Dojo community if you're not already a part of that. And you will be able to field a team and do some keys and win some prizes, all in support of Special Effect, who provide gaming equipment for folks that are unable to game due to a disability. The website for that is dungeondojowow.com. That's dungeondojowow.com. That's it from me.
And with that, we will see you same time next week. And keep an eye on Twitter and we'll let you know who or what's going to be happening.
Fabulous.
We'll have some interesting guests.
Yes.
Okay.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you next time.